The milling of the coarse homespun cloth, as in the old days, is repeated even today on occasion when friends gather for an old-time milling frolic to the lilt of Gaelic songs.
Hello, Kimada Hashif. Ismisha Connell Machricha di Cawasta Rewan I Crunel I Albastad Walkin Beck. I'm Connell McKinnon, Agus Sanju, Hami Akawastan Gaelic, Hami Dawa Hekish Gave Root Beckman, Orain Wuwai. I'm at the Gaelic College today and I'm teaching you guys a little bit about the milling tradition and milling songs here in Cape Breton. I'm seated here at Gumboart Wuwag at the milling table and I have my blanket in front of me. And a milling frolic is a form of communal labor, and it's the last step in the process of making our blankets and our clothing for the year. So traditionally, we would be milling at the end of harvest season, and it's quite a laborious process. So instead of undertaking that as a family or one person, we get everyone together and make a community go of it. The milling tradition is not only a task of labor, but it was kind of a ceilidh and a get-together and a party. Everyone had taken in their crops and kind of shutting things down, getting ready for the winter. So it was a good way to have one last blast of fun before the winter sets in. And everyone would bring their cloth that was just off the loom and we'd mill it together around the table. The process of milling, you need to wet the cloth. It's kind of loose when it comes off the loom, and we would sew it into a circle and seated around the table, we pound it wet off the milling board or the milling table, and that felts it and gets the cloth more waterproof and able to be made into blankets and clothing. And we'd make a pretty fun night out of it, and there would be matchmaking, and there might be a drink or two, and a fiddler might be there, and a dancer in the other room. So you'd have your seat at the milling table, and you'd sing a few songs, and you might go into the other room and have a meal. And now that we no longer have to mill, or we're not making our own cloth as much anymore, we continue the tradition, and it's used as a way to share songs and to share language and just an intergenerational transmission in communities. So there's still milling frolics to this day in communities like Johnstown, Christmas Island, different communities around Cape Breton. And it's just a great way to get together at the end of the harvest season and have a bit of fun and have a laugh and share some songs and stories and to meet with elders and just share the language and tradition. Some of these songs share women's perspectives. In the old country, milling was quite often women's work, and when it came to the New World, you start hearing songs about hunting and sailing and things like this when the men started joining in on the milling table. One song I'll give you an example of is Mary Woodach, My Lovely Mary, and it's a song composed by Callum Gillis from Southwest Margaree, and it's a story from the Iona area of a fella that was working closely with a woman from Mabu, and she had to leave to the States, and they were kind of set to be married, but she had to leave, and he kind of went through some betrayal through a friend, and they never ended up getting together, but Callum heard this story and composed a song about it. We'll try that one. I horo mo veri woodach, stulich loom and gachum found. Smuatach me asta yesa hamochria, jairach traum. Nuada hunik me erusu vato natter mur nach loom. Hoerum boys and nuad minchin leto chorug, kinchach kiun. I horo mo veri woodach, stulich loom and gachum found. Smuatach me asta yesa hamochria, jairach traum. Ni and down a hui in crewy, cook me gul gutis me och. Guddy toy shin moch harstin chum shin gun bin drast the past. Iaro mo veri woodach, stulich loom and gachum found. Smuatach me asta yesa hamochria, jairach traum. Sound and Jewish let go verach, go of malenin goach woam. Skitta haum Boston rioch strika he me usnam huin. I horo mo veri woodach, stulich loom and gachum found. Smuatach me asta yesa hamochria, jairach traum. Shoak of Pius Beck yen Oren. That was just a small piece of the song, but good example of the milling tradition here in Cape Breton.